Good morning, everybody. That's a statement of fact, not an opinion. I have to take a couple days off. I'm back with a fucking vengeance. This bitch is getting such special treatment, and I've done videos on this before. Ghislaine Maxwell at Club Fed. I don't know what, if anything, keeps Ghislaine Maxwell up at night, but it's definitely not the prospect of running out of toilet paper in the minimum security camp where she's currently residing. Maxwell is serving a 20-year sentence for her role in Epstein's sex trafficking operation. Rather than doing hard time, however, it seems Maxwell is having a relatively easy go of it. While most inmates get an allocation of 2 rolls of toilet paper per week, that's true, CNN reports Maxwell gets an unlimited supply. Bountiful bog roll isn't the only privilege being extended to Maxwell. The very fact that she was transferred to the federal prison camp, FPC, in Bryan, Texas, has prompted uproar and claims of special treatment. True, Maxwell, to jog your memory, was originally held at Federal Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York, then sent to Florida facility in 2022, where she complained about poor conditions and possums falling from the ceiling. She means noise from the rooms upstairs, yeah. It's not entirely clear why she was transferred out of the possum prison, but it may have had something to do with the visit paid to her in July by Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General and criminal defense attorney for the president. And why did the pair talk? What did they talk about? I'm so glad you asked. In the interest of transparency, which the Trump administration is very keen on when it suits them, the chat between Blanche and Maxwell was recorded and released to the public. And what do you know? Maxwell, she was emphatic that she never witnessed the president in any appropriate setting in any way. She was moved from the Florida facility within days of saying that. She also said at the same time she never saw Epstein do anything appropriate to any female in any way. So, yeah, take her at her word, I guess. Ever since the transfer, which a prison consultant called unprecedented, I could be a fucking prison consultant. That's just an ex-con that's giving advice to rich people going into prison. How you can hide your money, how you can get extra money sent to other people to get the things that you need in prison. I could do that for a living. Fuck. There have been reports that Maxwell is being treated like a VIP. She is. Earlier this month, for example, that I'd reported on, Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin sent a letter to Trump noting that the deference and servility to Miss Maxwell at FPC Bryan have reached such preposterous levels that one of the top officials at the facility has complained that he's sick of having to be Maxwell's bitch. That was a quote. Raskin's letter also claims that FPC Bryan Warden Hall has heaped favorable concierge-style treatment on Miss Maxwell since her bizarre arrival at the institution, including special meals, access to technology, which is a big no-no and against federal law, puppies to play with, and special use of the exercise facilities. I think that she did get permission to pet a puppy, but I've said this before. The dogs that are in those dog programs are being trained to be service animals. The people that run those programs are really serious about what those dogs get exposed to, which is why this was so concerning to hear about. So, emails written by Maxwell that were recently seen by The Atlantic further reinforce the idea that the disgraced socialite is having a relatively comfortable time behind bars. The food is legions better than at the facility in Florida. The place is clean and the staff responsive and polite, Maxwell wrote in one email to her brother reviewed by The Atlantic. I am much happier. I don't do British accent, sorry. Well, good for you, Ghislaine. But the fact is that the U.S. seems to have a 2-tiered legal system. That should make everyone else very unhappy indeed. This isn't really about Maxwell. It's about who our legal system protects and who it punishes. Maxwell, it cannot be stressed enough, is no victim or unwitting accomplice. She came from a world of power and privilege and used her status to prey upon vulnerable young girls. Maxwell hasn't just been accused of procuring girls for Epstein to abuse. She's been accused and convicted of actively participating in the abuse. In 2021, for example, a woman identified by the pseudonym Jane testified in Maxwell's sex trafficking trial that she'd met the socialite when she was 14. At first, Maxwell and Epstein made her feel special because they're so fucking tripped up like goddamn drag queens reading books to kids. You fucking hypocrites. Then, according to Jane, the abuse started, and Maxwell would occasionally join in because she's a sick fuck. She's got that psychopathy that loves to humiliate and degrade other people, like Stephen Miller, his wife, Russ Vought, like the whole fucking heap of these MAGA, white Christian nationalist evangelical fucks. The fact that she's been accused of serious crimes isn't to say that Maxwell should be thrown into a dungeon and left to sustain herself on foraged possum, but I strongly believe that all incarcerated people should be held in humane conditions and given a chance to rehabilitate themselves. Alas, that's far from the case. While Maxwell apparently does Pilates and plays with puppies, prisoners without the sort of connections she has are rotting away. This is particularly true of women in the U.S. who are disproportionately locked up in jails rather than state prisons. More than 60% of women in jails right now under local control haven't been convicted of a crime yet and are awaiting trial. I waited 2 years. I didn't even go to trial. I sat in county jail for 2 fucking years. That's how the system works. This, the Prison Policy Initiative posits, is because incarcerated women who have lower incomes than incarcerated men have an even harder time affording money for bail. Local jails tend to offer fewer services and programs than prisons do and offer more limited communication. That's true. They have more limited communication options. It's significantly more expensive to call people from jail than prison, for example. The lesson from all this, if you're going to be a criminal, make sure you've got a lot of money and the right connections. Worst case scenario, you end up in a plush correctional facility with unlimited toilet paper. Best case scenario, you end up President of the United States.